Hey, I'm Eric Champ, and on today's episode of Ever Forward Radio, I talk about my own personal story, my struggles, how, where I was and how I got to where I am today. I hope you like it.
3, 2, 1.
Eric, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Chase? How are you?
This is the awkward part of the conversation where we pretend like we haven't met before for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But dude, thank you so much for having me here to your home, to the gym, Champ City Fitness on wheels. This is amazing, man.
Yeah, it is, man. Lucky to have it.
Could have been a better day for me to pick one to interview someone outside. Texas, you guys are rolling in the heat right now.
Man, it'll be like this all the way through August. Soon it'll be triple digits, and we won't even go backwards.
Humidity is like not something I can even relate to anymore. I grew up in Virginia, and so it's like I go back now home or come here, and it's like, how did I ever live like this? I can't imagine. But
it just takes your conditioning to another level.
Seriously, man. But your conditioning is something that speaking of, I see is on another level, and what you've been doing here at home and what you've been providing online, and we'll get into the full story here. Sure. But it started out as something that you wanted to take out into the world, and like so many people in 2020, you had to pivot, and you did, and it's been working in a lot of cool new ways, man. So, I guess my first question is, where did Champ City come from? Where did this idea? Where did this bringing the movement, the fitness, the mission to the masses? Where did this come from, man?
Yeah. So, of course, as you're familiar with the story, and we'll get into it. But after making a transformation of my own at a fairly late age, 36, not young, not terribly old, but older. We could feel it. So, made a big turnaround in my life. I'm sitting there at 38 years old now at this point, and I'm like, well, dang it, like there have got to be other people out there just like myself that I can help. And my last name is Champ, and so that's where the Champ City came from.
Easy fit.
It's an alliteration.
Easy
fit. And I was like, well, I didn't want to work in like a YMCA or a Lifetime or a CrossFit gym or something like that. I wanted to do my own thing. Certainly didn't want to pluck down and invest in a brick and mortar gym. So I was like, how can I do this? I thought about just stashing some dumbbells in my car and just going, and people do that and are very successful with that.
Yeah.
And so, but this concept came about. I saw a few pictures on Pinterest. I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. This is it. And so I dug, and eventually this thing was born.
It's a beast.
Got it made.
It's a beast.
Yeah, it's awesome. And
anybody listening, you got to make sure to check the video. It's, and check his video content too. It's wild what you can do on wheels.
Yeah, you sure. Yeah, I mean, it's so I was this was December 2019 when I got it. Fully stocked, driving to people's homes, businesses, parks, taking fitness to their front door, looking for the folks who didn't want to get into a gym, were scared to get started, were, afraid of maybe what they had become similar to myself, looking for some relatability. And it was working awesome. It's flying all over the city. And then, March came, 2 weeks to stop the spread. And it's been parked here ever since.
So it hasn't 15 months now?
It hasn't moved an inch. Yeah.
Wow.
And, I was looking forward to the break, kind of whining, it was tough moving this thing around.
Yeah.
And, and I had, lots of people asking me about online training. And I had no idea what that even consisted of. Do people want that? Is it even real?
So this pivot kind of came to you. People were asking you for something that you weren't even fully aware of yet.
Not even aware of. Didn't even realize that even if you could do something, like, can it really make an actual impact? And so this one guy, he kept asking me, and then, a few weeks after 2 weeks to stop this, that March moment, I was like, you know what? Like, whether I go back to training or not, with the gym, I'll take you on. I had something. And so I took him on as an online client, building programs for him, trying to teach him about nutrition, habits. And we got him squared away. He's awesome. I looking back as, I was like, man, I wish I would have done so many things differently.
Sure, yeah.
But
every coach in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll say the same thing this time next year about everything I'm doing now. And so
good. That means you're growing, right?
We're trying.
Yeah.
Trying to always grow. And took him on. He wrote us a great review. And that was it. Between that and I doubled down on social media, just doing simple home workouts, right? And, basic stuff, a lot of unilateral training where we can just keep people moving during this time.
Yeah.
That was it. And didn't expect anything of it, but between those two things, it just grew. It started to take off, and I started to realize that remote coaching does have its place. And it's had its place well before I was even thinking about it. It's been around for a while, but now I finally learned that concept. And gosh, man, we're lucky we now coach folks on almost every continent.
Amazing.
All over the world.
Wow,
and it's morphed so much more into, just total wellness, holistic wellness. Rooted
it's right
in
on
habits.
the sign right there with holistic fitness, right?
Yeah, that's it. My wife saved me. When we get into the transformation part of the conversation, we'll talk about that. And people have gravitated towards just my story, and the more authentic that I started becoming, sharing through social media about all my troubles, and it's a pretty dark past, that some stuff that I was going through, but very relatable. And they have gravitated towards that, and those are the folks that we love to coach.
Yeah,
and fitness just happens to be one of the pieces of it now, and. We don't even, we want to have, we have some clients who just strictly just want to get in awesome shape. They're good to go everywhere else. Of course, we take on anyone who wants to get better. But it's mainly, folks who are just trying to get a second comeback in life, get their health back.
Yeah. You say, right? It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
So our average client I got to look back at the numbers, but it's, between 39 and 49 years old. Got a bunch of people in their 50s, several in their 60s, just kicking ass, man. And it is so awesome to see. I have this one client who he's been with me for a while, and his his girlfriend. I also coach her dad.
Oh wow!
So his essentially future father-in-law.
Yeah.
And he's in his mid 60s, and when they visit, they live a couple thousand miles apart, but when they see each other, man, the dad is doing push-ups while cooking dinner, just a beast, is in it, and I love that more than anything else in the world, and that is awesome to see these guys just. It's just never too late, man. It's anyone can do it. We just got to find that one thing that gets it going.
When did you catch that in yourself? And I'm curious what I've come to know about you. I know you've had a major transformation. Would love to kind of share that experience if you could, please. And when did you know that, it's not too late for myself? Did it happen after your transition from the Marine Corps? Because I know a lot of guys, girls, a lot of people who separate from the military, going back to civilian life, that is one of the biggest areas that they struggle with. And that's your self-accountability. That's your physical fitness. That's your body composition. It's amongst so many other things. Was that when it kind of fell off for you? And,
to really know the whole story, you got to go way back. And I talk about this all the time in social media, all the way down back to
Please take us back
to your inner child stuff that you can't even remember. Right. And so I've done professional work there. We could get granular there if we ever wanted to pivot to actually how that was. But between that and then leading up to, essentially the end of high school, I just created terrible habits for myself, experiencing with not much different than your average teenager, or maybe so I thought, or so I still think. Partying a lot and, binge drinking like just a wild man. And, that led up to me I was an average like B plus student in high school. A couple A's here and there. I always seemed a way to do just enough to be
Just enough to get by.
a little bit above average, but I never really
To deter the unwanted attention of teachers and I'm sure your parents and things like that, and even yourself.
And I was, man, I just, with all my habits and just wanting to, I was never comfortable with myself. I had so many insecurities. And this goes back to the inner child stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned me into a people pleaser, right? And with that, I always wanted to do stuff at any cost to help or please others. And so I got in trouble in high school. It caused me to not be able to, walk at my high school graduation.
Wow.
That actually hit me,
Made some moves, huh?
Yeah, it hit me a little bit because, you're not really thinking about it too much in high school as far as the importance of it, but especially now thinking about it, and that must have been devastating for my parents. And so I was on the line with recruiters at the time, Coast Guard, Marines, all of them. Eventually went into the Marines. But those habits that I had from high school, you would think you go through Marine Corps training that you come out as a different person. Yes, you do physically. But, if you don't work on yourself, really work on yourself, those guys, drill sergeants, they're not going to, help you out. I should say drill instructors.
Yes. Yeah. You guys are drill instructors. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
We're going to get some hate on that one.
I'm sorry. Drill instructors.
You should know better.
Yeah. And you just had me thinking about the Army. And but those habits carried with me.
Yeah.
And I partied just as hard in the Marines, if not way harder, anytime we were on leave or any port station or just wherever. Just continue. Go back home, got right back with high school friends, partied. And
so life changed a little bit for you, but the habits didn't.
Habits did not.
Yeah.
They carried with me. And then you go, I left the Marines and, went to college with the idea of continuing to stay in the Marines, go through officer candidate school, all that. Finished college, ended up just really being hurt in all my metatarsals, stress fractures, could not continue the Marine Corps, the military career, which was something I really wanted to do badly. It was a goal of mine.
Why? Why was it so important for you?
I felt like even though I had terrible habits and, but I still felt like I was doing something bigger than myself. And I love that. I don't have a family of military background. This is something that I felt like I was really good at. I love leading people. And I still had insecurities. So I still felt like I wanted to please others at, sometimes the detriment of myself at cost. But it was managed a little better in the Marines. And I wanted to stay in that because I really did feel like I was connecting and doing well.
There's a system there. It's a structure that is made for stuff like that.
Correct.
Of leadership, of delegation, superiors, and subordinates. So
You're right.
I can totally relate. I mean, you can. I'm sure it probably felt like you finally clicked somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it didn't work out because I had stress. I could not continue with the training.
Yeah.
Terrible circulation. It took me an hour to, I'd get out of bed and I couldn't even walk normally for an hour. Just everything was off. So I had to leave the Marines and I started, I was like, well, what am I going to do? And the girlfriend who I was dating at the time, her dad was an exec for an elevator company, a big one, worldwide elevator company. And so I got into that industry.
Oh, no way. Okay.
In the elevator industry.
So that was your transition out of the
Marines,
Corps,
out of college, into the elevator industry. And I did that.
Is that yours?
Yeah, I wish. It's
Uncle Sam heard us talking.
Yeah, he's checking on me, man. What is this guy talking about? Drill sergeant, man, no way. We heard you. So got in the elevator industry, and I was doing this job very successfully for 10 years in various positions. And it was going awesome. Just like in the Marines, I was always found myself at the top of anything that I would do. So I was still a very high achiever with all the bad habits that I had. But that military structure was gone. And those habits from high school, due to my insecurities of early childhood stuff, have carried with me all the way through this time. And now I'm in the corporate America, and I'm 27 years old at this time. And for the next 10 years, it just got progressively worse and worse and worse and worse. And as you know, in the military, you essentially think you're almost invincible. Like you're never going to be out of shape. You're never like, this is, and I think there's,
they won't let you.
I think a lot of folks, yeah.
And
a lot of folks also think that, which was part of the reason of the Champ City, Mobile. It's like, I'm going to find some veterans that had that thinking. And, but those habits turned into some dark moments. And that led me all the way up to 36 years old. And it was just one day when things started to click, and we can get into that if you want to.
Yeah,
but
I'm curious, man, if you could kind of paint a picture for us, because what you're saying, I think, is so common, more common than people probably realize, because they're not recognizing it or choosing to not recognize that while I can be a high performer, I can be in the military, in this organization, I can be in a corporate job, I can be performing in life and on paper, killing it, doing everything, but have these kind of destructive habits that we don't think are destructive, because how could they be if I'm successful? How could they be if I'm getting a promotion? How could they be if I'm a contributing member of society, or, not getting Article 15s in the military kind of thing? So walk us through, if you could, man. What were some of those habits that you define as destructive, but maybe at the time didn't seem as much because you were still being successful in your own right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest one of all is my drinking habit.
Okay.
Everything had to be a party. It didn't matter.
0 or 100.
0 to 100. Just going to the park, party. Just going out on the boat, party. Doing, celebrating a birthday for anyone, party.
Tuesday, party.
Yeah, grilling in the backyard. I talk about all the time. Tuesday, party. Wednesday, party. Just grilling for the family. Party. And I love the setup, because I love going out there, getting everything, and then I just chill. And it's kind of like my time, right? The sacred time, 20 minutes out there grilling, got all my stuff. But I would put IPA. I had 4 double IPAs in my pockets on a random Tuesday. And sometimes more than that, anything that would fit. So I wouldn't have to come back in, number one. But two, I was actually pretty ashamed of, I didn't want to come back in 5 times for another beer on a Tuesday.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
So a little bit, you said a little bit of shame around kind of that habit and behavior that I think that's a key word for a lot of people right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really kind of break down, like you just did, what you were doing so that you wouldn't have to do something else. I mean,
right.
You're hiding this habit.
That's right.
You're hiding this from
your
family.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You're right. And so that was the biggest habit of all, that I just didn't have any self-care, self-love for myself. And that led to so many other destructive things. Every morning when I woke up, the first thing that I did was, see what I was responsible for, work, check emails, do that, right? And I'd jump into it right away. And that led to an ongoing thing, because I wanted to be successful, right? So I was like, okay, what's the task? And I'd jump right into it.
What's the mission? Give me my orders.
Let's go. And like the people who I was working for loved that, right? I mean, this guy's on it, kind of thing. But that was terrible. And that led to, that may have been one of the worst things of all. I never was able to fully win the day. The day consumed me before I could even give it a best shot of winning. Meaning, like, there's definitely no chance of crushing a workout in the morning, which is really the only time that I had, or just optimizing, setting intentions and stuff like that. So that was a bad habit. Just getting right to work right thing in the morning.
I'm so glad you said that right there. I think it's such a great little benchmark in your story of something that we all probably have heard, or at least need to hear again right now, that when you're waking up and all you're doing is just starting to put out other people's fires, you're not even giving your own a chance.
Yeah.
And you're starting off in just this reactive response state.
Yeah.
And you're starting off biologically just heightened stress, elevated cortisol. And so,
Right.
I mean, it's no wonder that we don't give ourselves the grace the rest of the day to bring awareness into our habits, to build any new habits, because we're fighting against our own bodies and our own minds. Like, when do we even give ourselves a chance?
You're right.
This is such a great little benchmark there, man.
By far the greatest habit that I've ever created for myself was the moment I wake up, gear up, and I have everything but my shoes on. I leave my shoes inside here in the gym, and my socks as well. Put on my watch, grab my water, and I sit right up. Matter of fact, right here, I sit there, stick my feet into the earthing,
Grounding. Yeah.
and I set my intentions for the day.
Wow.
10, 15 minutes, light meditation, and I intend to do this. I am going to do that.
No pocketfuls of IPAs this time.
No pocket IPAs, nothing hidden. And I'm just sitting there, and the phone stays plugged. Matter of fact, it's not even near me. At night, it's plugged in another room, and I don't look at that for at least 20 minutes prior to anything.
Amazing. Yeah.
And by far the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Then after that, I go grab my phone, put my shoes on, put my socks on, and crush a workout. But the intentions habit, that's been a game changer for me.
Yeah. So you were saying that's kind of like, that was the progression. You were realizing that, again, being a people pleaser, crushing it at work. It sounds like this was maybe the moment when you realized that you were starting the day off just contributing into other people.
Right.
And these habits weren't going anywhere.
So that was a terrible habit. Another one was, my nutrition, it's anything that was convenient is what I would eat. Again, going back to pleasing people, right? I don't have time to be at the grocery store and grab, whole foods, right? And vegetables and fruits and make a wholesome meal. I don't have time for any of that. I don't have time to set myself up for success. And so it's convenience. And anything that, got in the way of convenience was, not what I did. And so, and that led me to a state of near, depression, despair. There was an honest moment, Chase, where I truly didn't think I'd see my 40th birthday.
Really?
It was that bad.
Because of your habits, because of how you felt, how you looked, just like
deep underneath
your self-evaluation at the time.
Yeah. I knew something was really wrong, and I just never, ever admitted it. I never looked in the mirror, not because of the physical changes that had happened, even though I'd gotten up to 250-ish pounds, and I was afraid of myself. I knew it wasn't like, I never wanted to admit what had happened to me at this point.
You began to really look down the road. Hey, if what I'm doing is going to be what I'm always going to be doing, this stuff's adding up fast, and not in a good way.
I didn't think change was possible.
Huh.
I didn't think it was how I was feeling. I didn't think it could happen. And
so then what shifted for you?
Well, one day, I was just bought all these new pants and they were hemmed for 38, and I liked comfortable pants,
Who doesn't?
Yeah, right.
No problem there.
Yeah. And they, so they're kind of expensive, and size 38, and I'm putting them on in my closet, and I just got them, right, mind you, and they were too tight, and I was like, damn, I'm going to a 40, and at that moment, caught myself in the mirror, trying these things on. And that was it, man. It was the ultimate, it was just that moment could have lasted forever. It was the showdown with myself. The water, this was that moment.
You saw it, you felt it.
And I finally was just, looking at myself, I was just like, damn, dude, you are not going to see 40.
Yeah. What was that conversation? What was that conversation that you had with yourself?
This was just man, and I have at that time, A little one who is like 1.5, haven't been present in her life, haven't been present in my wife's life, haven't been present in anything, nothing, just a shell of myself, thinking that this is it. Like, you have this time right now to do something, and if you don't do it right now, it's it.
Amazing, man.
And so the next day, I grabbed my pair of shorts and
Next day.
went to the YMCA right down the road.
Hell yeah.
Walked a mile on the treadmill, and that was it. And I went back to that building for nearly a year and a half, almost the same time each day, not necessarily to actually exercise, but just to be in the building, to be surrounded by other people who are also doing awesome things. And that was it. First 4 months were sloppy, didn't really know what I was doing, but I was going. Didn't really, until I finally listened to my wife at about, 4 months into the journey of like, and I tried to eat a couple good nutritious meals here and there to combat that, but I still felt like I had earned a lot of good meals, right? That was my mentality. I did X, so I earned X. And that was a terrible mentality.
Yeah.
And that started to shift. Everything shifted about 4 months into the journey. I was really ripping on Whole Foods diet, listening to my wife.
Who's a functional doctor,
who's
right?
a functional medicine right here.
Medicine, yeah.
Yep. Works at a few clinics. And gosh, and all the while, all this time when we met each other through, getting married and having a little one, and she saw me at my horse, and I
think right there
some bad things.
If I can interrupt, I think that's just she's not here with us, but like that's just an amazing accolade, and in the space that it takes to keep for the people in your life that you want the most change for, because I can relate, back in my coaching days, and even just knowing what I know now, and someone like your wife who is married to someone who I'm sure she wanted to just be like, just do what I say.
Yeah.
Just do this, do that, stop doing this, stop doing that. But what do we know when it comes to human nature? That might work for a few people.
Yeah.
It might work short term. It might work long term. But for the vast majority of people, it doesn't. It won't.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's such an amazing accolade for her. It's just like she kept this space for you to unfortunately have to hit that rock bottom on your own to decide that not only did you want it for yourself, but to decide how you were going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure along the way, she's helping out with a few things here and there, but that's the nature of behavior change. That's what it takes.
Right.
So, and that's the hardest thing for physicians, for coaches, for trainers.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, just let me do it for you. Let me help you, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work the way we want it to.
That's right. And it's not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
And so
you were saying it was taking you, 3-4 months? And
4 months just to get to the point where I felt like I actually felt that, you know what, like this is possible. I was eating the right stuff.
At that point, you've created new habits.
New habits were created. I was in the building for darn near every single day for 4 months. And I have a picture that I share all the time. It's like that day may have been even better than the day when I caught myself in the mirror, because I realized that, okay, like it's real. This is possible. I still struggled with alcohol, pretty mightily up until 6-8 months into it. And
within the same ways you were talking about before, of just drinking as frequently as you were, and kind of the same shame around it.
Yeah, same shame. Yeah, first 4 months, it was definitely part of like, okay, now I'm crushing these workouts. I definitely earn these drinks, kind of thing, right? And and I had tried, because I realized that I've had an issue in the past before with alcohol, and I've tried cutting back and stopping altogether and all of this stuff, and it just never worked. And I knew it wasn't going to work here. In that 4 months, I tried, and I actually successfully did it. 30 days of no drinking. It was like it was a modified Whole30. Did it for my in honor of my mom, and did it. But I damn near fell out altogether. The journey almost stopped as a result of that because there's just too much restriction. And I learned very early on that that's a bad thing.
Please say that again. Go back to too much restriction.
Too much restriction, yes.
Being a bad thing.
One of my mantras is addition, not restriction, and trying to get as many healthy things into your body versus, unhealthy, right? So organically, you might replace that, bad stuff, unhealthy stuff that you don't want in your body with good stuff.
Restriction is just a short-term fix.
It's tough.
Short-term may look like 30 days. For some people, may look like 30 years. But look at like lifetime alcoholics. They can have that 30-year sobriety. All it takes is just one fallback,
bad night,
and they're back to right where they were. I mean, restriction is just it's not in our nature.
Yeah,
it's not in our nature.
It's
so
not.
I'm on board with that for sure, man.
So, I almost fell out of the journey altogether with that, but luckily I stuck with it because I had a routine of going back to the YMCA, and I stuck with that with all my being, and I had good food, eating good foods, and I eventually applied the walk it back method. And I use
what do you mean by that?
I use this a lot in my coaching program on lots of different bad habits. It's essentially when it comes to drinking specifically, I knew how many drinks I was having on a weekly basis. And that's a number. It's almost like a mathematical thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just every week I just shaved a little bit off of it, and then at the, it took about a year to where I was down to essentially zero. And that worked for me. And you could do that in a lot of other ways, right? It doesn't have to be just alcohol, right?
Yeah.
You're slow because you could start, and then when you're getting down to the granular, down to like one, drink a day. I mean, it's okay. The next time it's going to be 3/4 of a glass, right? And a half. And can that work for everybody? Absolutely not. But does it? It possibly can.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, you're at this point, you're 36?
37 probably around this point. Yeah.
So in your late 30s, you didn't build these habits that didn't serve you within a year. So how could you possibly undo them at the same time? It's the same concept when people are like, I want to lose 50 pounds in a month. Well, you probably didn't gain that 50 pounds in a month. Or I want to cut back my alcohol. I want to cut back. I want to do more, do less of this.
Right.
And it's this radical honesty that we need to have with ourselves. Hopefully, maybe a loved one can have this with us if we're there. But it's just the radical honesty we have to have of just what did it take for me to get to this point? Yeah. And just the knowing that it's not going to take an overnight thing to get me out of where I am.
Change is hard, man. Yeah. It's hard as F. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Chase. If you don't have those honest conversations, those, I mean, and true, I mean, only right? You could fake it as long as you want, but you're going to continue to be in that despair because you're faking it. So
absolutely, man, absolutely.
You got to stick with it, and that's where the professional help came in. I started doing work on my inner child, got that squared away, and then the drinking slowly walked it back. About a year, got to close to around zero. And, of course, that wasn't the end of the journey. Never is the end of the journey.
It never is, right?
Yeah. So, about a year and a half from the time that I started that day that I walked a mile in the YMCA, I felt like I was like, wow, like this. I was rail thin. I was like, okay, you lost the weight,
You did it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You achieved it.
Yeah. She could blow on me and I just go down the street,
Wow.
And, but I have started to, about halfway through, I've really, through, professional trainers and mentors and stuff like that, I really understood kind of the process of body transformation. And, I wanted to get through various, and I don't like diets that last 12 to 16 weeks, stop the diet, go into maintenance, or do at least a major diet break, right? A lot of things happen along the way. So you don't want to diet forever. And through these various phases, I got lean. And then for the next 6 months, after a year and a half, I focused on building my body back up.
Okay.
Yep. Put on 10 pounds. Half of that was fat. And then I shed that layer of fat off and and now I hover around 195 pounds, and that's the lifestyle I live in.
Amazing, man. I'm curious, how did you kind of, on everybody's wellness journey, you find that one thing or a couple things that just click for you? And it sounded like that treadmill, the YMCA was it, just to get that habit up and rolling. But I mean, there aren't any treadmills here.
Yeah.
I all the workouts that I see you do on Instagram are just so creative and I want to say elaborate, but yet simple at the same time.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of gravitate towards what you do now? And what's the power that it holds? What are these simple movements that you do that have helped you maintain where you're at now?
Yeah.
And that you are helping pass off to other people?
So first of all, if you are just now finding me and you end up going to my social media channels and you see some of the workouts that you see there, first and foremost, these are my workouts and they may not be designed for you and your goals. It's meant for just inspiration. Mm-hmm. This old guy's out there still doing it,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And so behind the scenes, I'm still trying to get in about 3 days of traditional compound lifts.
Gotcha.
Push, pull, lunge, squat, right? Trying to, that focuses on, a blend of hypertrophy work, muscle building, and strength. And the other 2 days or so, I try to stay committed to around 5 good days, and that's all you need. I mean, really, you have a good program. 3 to 4 is really all you need.
Yeah, you can do a lot with 3 to 4.
Sure can.
You can do a lot with 3. Yeah.
That plus 7,000 steps, have your diet in check, man. Gosh, anything's possible. And so, but now I'm maintaining, right? I'm in a sense having fun, and what matters to me more than ever is that I'm building a body for my 40s.
For longevity.
So that's why I do so many core exercises. I try to get, a bunch of full body sort of calisthenic stuff going in there because I want to stay young.
Yeah.
And
you want to move. You want to scoop down, pick up your kids. You want to play with the dog. You want to.
That's right.
All the simple things that I think all humans, all of us want, right?
That's right.
We want to be able to move, grab groceries, and not throw our back out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got a lot of good functional exercise, and so that's why where the creativity comes in. I always want to have just awesome trunk stability, core strength, and that's what's most important to me now. So I'm not pushing heavy weights very often. On those 3 compound days. Heavy-ish for me might be very light for someone else.
Sure.
It's perfect for me. But I do want to maintain strength and muscle up and above the joints. That's how we prevent injuries, right? Yeah. We got to be strong around those joints. And so it can't always be, can't crush your Peloton 7 days a week. That's,
I know some people who try.
They do try, and that's probably the message I get more than ever, in my inbox is, Eric, man, how do I lose weight, man? I am crushing my Peloton 7 days a week. I know I'm in a deficit, and they're eating like birds, right? 1,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And they've just been trying to chase this diet that worked for them, 5 years ago, last year, whatever, and they're still just trying to chase it, not realizing that their body has metabolically adapted. Their metabolism has almost come to a screeching halt.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, for anyone listening, you can't diet forever, and you gotta feed yourself.
What's been some of the feedback you've gotten from your following, from some of your clients? Has anybody else had such a major transformation like yourself? Have they had that epiphany, had that moment in the mirror, and they realize it's so much more than just what I think, and I need to change so much more than I ever thought? Oh
yeah, and that's my all-time favorite messages ever. Not only in the comments, but in my, and I try to answer as many of my direct messages as possible. But just hearing people talk about, man, I'm red shorts guy. I try to frame it. I have a red shorts guy. I have a chicken tender guy. There's even an Adam Sandler guy. But the relatability to it, and they start talking to me. Either it's their day one, and I always tell them, I'm right here to support you, or they're 3 months into it, 6 months into it, and they're actually making meaningful change.
Due to
some of the stuff that I have been doing and just sharing the story, authentically as I can through social. And then my own clients in the coaching program, they are all just kicking ass and making, I wish I could say I batted 1,000.
Wow,
and again, just like I said in the beginning, not all of them are there for major life transformation. Some just want to, lose weight, gain muscle, right?
Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We
They
can
just
do
want
that.
to shift some of those habits.
Yep, that's it. But, by and large, when we're totally locked in, as long as they're engaging on their end, real things happen. And it's beautiful to see because, knowing what it is personally, which is why I'm so passionate, there's that the power of a total transformation internally and externally, it has no equal, it has no equal. And so
Wow. Yeah.
that's what drives me, man. And I want that, for everyone. But I wanted to, I just thought of something that I wanted to bring back up,
Please.
the colorful past that I had leading up to the transformation. I've done things that I am not proud of, ashamed of, but, essentially people at risk through it with my drinking issues. And, even with the newborn, this is why I'm so passionate about, motivation and how overrated it is, right? When you're always told that when you have a kiddo, your life changes overnight. That's it. All of a sudden you're super dad, you're super mom, right? Instantly. But you're still, you wake up the next day, you are still the same person if you still have those habits.
Yeah.
And so I was, right? We had our precious girl, and was I the happiest person on earth? Yes. Would I do anything for her? Yes. Was I still just, the same person drinking a lot and eating like crap and not taking care of myself? Absolutely. And there are things that I just was not proud of, and through professional help and really, answering the hard questions, I finally forgave myself. And that's so important.
Wow. Yes. Yeah.
You got to forgive yourself, and it has to be real. And, when I felt like I finally crossed that, that's when things really started to change for me, mentally. Everything opened up,
Would you be willing to share maybe specifically what you forgave yourself for? Because forgiveness is amazing.
Yeah.
But the specificity in forgiveness is really where like the true change begins.
A couple things, I can get into. Some I still reserve as pretty private.
Sure,
but,
of course.
It's I've been to jail twice, due to putting people at risk. I have forgiven myself for that. Family vacations, things, we're around in the pool or doing other things like that. And just, I'm not being a good dad with drinking at 10 a.m. and having the care of a little one there. Like, that's reckless, and thinking back, like good thing, like nothing happened, but I was probably more lucky than anything else. And, how could I as a dad, put, something so precious at risk, right? And that killed me. And I'd wake up, of course, the next morning, by the way, hangovers were just normal, but I'd wake up thinking like, total shame, right? I mean, like what, that's it. Today's the day, I'm changing kind of thing. And then, 1 o'clock, it's just,
back to norm.
It's forgotten. Yeah. And so that was a rough place to live in, but I've forgiven myself for that, so important. And, there are some other things that I've forgiven myself for.
It's amazing.
But yeah, man.
Yeah. I think forgiveness is, like I said, such a powerful tool. But we have to be specific in what we're giving ourselves forgiveness for, what we're forgiving others for. Because what's on the other side of forgiveness is really that fresh start. Because when you think about it, if you haven't forgiven yourself for habits that you want to change or recklessness or insert your own story here, then how could you ever think that you're ever going to change? How could you ever think that it's going to be any different? Because once forgiveness happens, like that is a closed chapter.
Right.
That is a closed chapter. And like there is a hard line in the sand of before that and what is after.
Yeah.
And it's you can finally separate from those two. You can finally separate and realize that not only have I had the power and ability and choice to do this all along, but for whatever reason, right here, right now, I'm at a point in my life to where it matters more. Yeah. So why does it matter more right now? Yeah. And lean into that. Get specific with your forgiveness through that path. And then after that, man, you face the world. Yeah. It's a brave new world.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yep. I'm totally with you. It's, there's a reason why the truth will set you free is so popular and does not ever need to be overlooked.
Yes.
It is, it's as real as it gets, and it will set you free. And, forgiving yourself is part of that equation, part of that process.
I think a perfect way to kind of begin to get towards the end here, man, I just want to, acknowledge your work and your truth and your forgiveness and, ability and willingness to show up here for us today. I thank you for that. What really caught my attention when I was learning more about you was it's never too late. It's never too late. And that clearly is in your story. But like, I want to say it's never too late, for maybe something you're still working on right now, and for myself to hear it, and for the person watching, listening, it's never too late for forgiveness.
Yeah.
No matter how dark or how bad you think something was, and sure, maybe it was, maybe it is, but it's never too late to make a new habit, to go to the gym, to take a walk, but also like the deeper rooted stuff, maybe that's preventing you from going to the gym, preventing you from making the choice that you think you deserve. Yeah. It's never too late for forgiveness.
That's right. That's right. And it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Can't just be forgiven if there's someone else forgiving you for something in the past. I mean, it's got to come from within that you're ready to truly move forward.
Yeah. Because you can't until you forgive them, until you forgive yourself. Absolutely.
More often than not, the folks that I've come across when there are structural problems, foundational problems with, them not being able to create a stable routine, it's not only their environment and process, but more often than not, it's something deep rooted. We got to find out what that is.
Yeah. Well, Eric, it's been great, man, having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's an honor being here, man. I appreciate you coming all this way, man.
That's what I'm here for.
Seeing this stuff,
it's what I'm here for. I was like, man, that driveway workout looks unreal.
This is it, man. This is the blue mat. I mean, gosh, this is where it all happens.
We're live here on set. This is amazing.
This is it. Yep.
Well, I think you might appreciate this. Ever Forward Radio. Ever Forward is the whole mission here. Comes from my father, who passed away in 2005 from a terminal illness. It was this phrase that he picked up. I heard it my entire life growing up. I'm 35. I've heard it for almost 20 years. The life before he passed away. He picked it up. He was in the Army. It was his unit's creed, their saying, and it goes way, way back in American history. And so it's really cool that I'm so glad that he picked that up. And not only just, we say dumb shit in the military. We latch on to things. We don't know what we're saying a lot of times. Yeah. But for whatever reason, he did, and it was meaningful for him. And it's just how I've grown up, and it's what he did and instilled in us and my family, and the ultimate kind of lesson that he passed in his passing. Like, no matter what, just keep moving forward. Find a way to move forward, even if it's just 1%. Like, find the gift in this hurricane that life has thrown you, man. So I always ask my guests as a final question, what does that mean to you when you hear ever forward? Like, how would you say you live a life ever forward? How would you define that?
Yeah. Well, man, everything that I do is deep rooted in habits. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about how, if you're trying to change your lifestyle, it's not, we're going to have immediate success in a week, in a month, in a year. It's, you don't go off just sprinting. It's tiny incremental changes over time will lead to a meaningful impact. And if you can do that, and you will always be leaning forward, you will be better than yesterday. And yeah, man, I love that. Just, take that one, what you did yesterday was awesome. How are we going to improve upon that today? And it doesn't have to be much at all. Even just acknowledging that yesterday was an awesome day.
Absolutely.
today is going to be even a more awesome day.
Yeah.
Is that tiny percent.
Yeah.
And those wins will begin to stack. And that's where the real change happens. Man, you know, I appreciate the ever forward message. I appreciate what you're doing. And I love what your dad had passed on to you and instilled in you. Certainly sorry for your loss. No,
Thank you.
you know, but yeah, I'm sure he's proud of you today.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm gonna have all of your information down in the show notes and video for everybody. But if they want to connect with you and learn more, where can they go? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's champcity.com.
Yeah.
That's probably the first place, or you know, Champ City ATX. That's the Instagram handle.
You're looking for great workouts. Check them out. I mean,
Yeah.
they like I said, they look really wild and crazy, but when you really break it down, it's simplicity and consistency.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I still try to bake in the basics, you know, where they are. But
Beautiful, man.
I appreciate you coming out here.
Dude, my
Chase,
pleasure.
Man. Awesome.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Thank
It's
you.
beautiful.